And now we have to move to another presentation. Jdeme do finále. Kromě toho, že nás čeká poslední prezentace, tak si můžete všimnout, že vedle mě už jsou nachystané ceny, které budou vám doručeny na základě slosování, které bude po poslední prezentaci. Poslední prezentace je od firmy Nodeum. Za tuto firmu bude mluvit Valerie Julien. No a můžete nyní rozšířit své znalosti o systému, díky kterému můžete své úložiště, ať už je to S3 nebo NAS, zkombinovat s LT otázkami a pomocí formátu LTFS použít pro bezproblémovou aktivaci. Je to zajímavé téma, díky kterému můžete konsolidovat svou pásmovou knihovnu za použití malé diskové kapacity a řešit tak spolehlivě vysokokapacitní řešení archivace dat. No a uvidíme i zálohování specifické platformy IBM HS 400. Tak, předávám slovo. Hello, Valerie, are you here?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introductions. And I like to thank everybody for being part of these presentations, and thanks to Agora Plus as well for inviting us to present our solutions. Then I will start to share my screen. Just to swap. Okay. And then, as I said, welcome everybody. And I'm very happy to present Nodeum and our product line today. Just a quick agenda. First, I'm Valerie, and I'm the CEO of the companies. And I will do a quick introduction about who we are. Afterwards, I will cover the two product lines. Nodeum itself has a data management unstructured for unstructured data softwares, and we do have as well our LMS software suite as well that I will cover, that will address a different market about data protection in IBM systems. And after, we do have a quick and answer sessions if you have any questions. Okay, then starting from us, about us, we are software companies. We are based in Belgium. We have, let's say, a focus on Europe. Mainly, we do have as well customers in Asia Pac till Japan and in America too. Okay, we have the ownerships, and also we manage the development and the support of two product lines, Nodeum and LMS. Okay, what's behind Nodeum and LMS? Nodeum is an unstructured data management software, and with these softwares, you will learn that you can address the challenge of moving the content, protecting and archiving. That we are from the discovery of the contents which are stored on your systems. The softwares have the capability to transfer the content and control the movements too. And that is very useful. You will learn in context where you do have, let's say, a high level of volumes of data transfer request, and also when you need to control the movement and archive the content. And LMS is a software stack that will allow you to protect your IBM systems to open tape libraries or deduplication disk appliance too. This is the introduction. We are company, as I mentioned, based in Belgium. Then we do rely on our channels. Agora Plus is our, let's say, local and regional partners. We do have as well technology partners, as we are touching mostly the storage side, and we work with most of the main vendors also, and our softwares are compatible with too. Okay. Then first, let's start with Nodeum. As I mentioned, we are very strong with the softwares in unstructured data. We are managing data with the softwares, and we can scale to the petabyte plus scale. Then the software is designed for doing these three main things. First of all, you will learn that it's designed for migrating content. Migrating content is something that is born, let's say, when the first computers has been born too. Okay, that is not something very new, but you have to understand that with the growth of the unstructured data, of the, let's say, the explosion of the data, and also with all the different type of storage you can be faced, it starts to be challenging for end users to connect, let's say, the end user pipelining, the end user's application, and how the business works with a different level and different silos of storage, and how the content has to move back and forth, let's say, between all of these storage following, let's say, your business requirement. And you will learn in our use case how we can manage that and automate all of this movement from a central perspective. Archiving is typically the requirements to move the content from different storages and getting them stored on low cost, let's say, large capacity media. It is where you will learn that we have the capability to address, let's say, some type of demands about LTFS appliance systems, or even front-end file on top of S3 storage. The data protection is about protecting, let's say, large asset and volume of content. If you have some scale out NAS on the front end, file systems that you want to get them protected, of course, you can still try to use, let's say, the traditional, let's say, backup application. But definitively, today, it's not very, let's say, well designed for massive unstructured data. And our software is designed for helping you to build, let's say, policies that will take care of the protection of all of this storage and make them available on different storage class. We address our Nodeum software in the 5 top verticals. It is where we do have operation and workflows in this industry. We do have a strong use case. And the main one is HPC supercomputing. Today is our first, let's say, industries we serve, with most of our customers in the region here in Europe, where they have, let's say, more and more, let's say, requirement about the movement of the content back and forth between different file systems, but also object storage. We will learn in our use case how we can address such kind of issues. The number 2 is the media. The media space is broadcasters, is also post-productions. Okay. The next one is the life science. It's about genomics, MRI scanning. Then we are very close, let's say, to the life science business to help them to manage and archive the massive content that are generated by specific medical device. Earth observation encompass oil and gas. It encompass also satellites business. It encompass Earth observation, that we are about satellites. We are about image acquisition from satellite, but we have also use case of customers having image acquisition from plane, and they are doing pictures and videos for some business too. And the last but not least is the research universities, where we are as well close to the life science or the supercomputing too. Then Nodeum has been born, and we born Nodeum 8 years now ago. And we designed this product from scratch for, let's say, providing an answer to customers having to move a large volumes of content, and they want to gain the control of the movement itself, and of course of the process. Because we learned that from these customers, that moving content take times, and also are very important for a business, and it's key for them to avoid having, let's say, any problems, interruptions, stop and restart process. And then handling the movement itself of the data, plus as well controlling the movement, take a lot of time, take a lot of operations. And we help, let's say, end users in these verticals we mentioned to improve the time and operations behind it, because this costs money too. And we understood as well, day one, that handling a movement or connections on a storage which is not let's say, not file-based, can be a challenge for most of the end users too. And then addressing the connections to a file with an SMB or an NFS protocol is one thing, but when you have to address a connection to a bucket with pair of keys, not the same story. And if we go a little bit more far too, you have the tape storage, and that's not intuitive too to connect to steps. And we simplify all of these connections, and we help end users to start to execute workflows of movement, of archiving or protection. as easy as this drag and drop. Okay, then you have the possibility to access any type of storage very easily in defining workflows that move and copy files across all of these different storage. And then we can also, you will learn that we can present as well single namespace on top of tabs, on top of S3, object storage, and even the various legacy file-based storage too. In terms of architectures, components, first of all, it's run on Linux platforms. The deployment itself is very easy. You deploy we deploy, or let's say our partners deploy on operating systems. And on top of the operating systems, which is Linux-based, as I said, we deploy the complete application stack. It's a modern application stack designed fully with API web services. Then you will see the console, the interface are running on the APIs too. Okay, that all of our interface are using the API web service. Afterwards, after the API web service, you will find the different services. One of the services, the main one, is the workflow managers. It is the service that will handle all the workflow and the movement. Can be archiving, protection, and migrations. In the workflow managers, we integrate different type, let's say, of features. We have a schedulers, we have filterings. You will see some details afterwards. And we have the capability to verify, control the movement, and present this verification, and as well the integrity verifications too. We do have also additional services. We have a catalog service, which present with a web frontend the content across all the storages. We have a search engine. You can search after the file. We have a modules to manage the metadata, and we do have a lot of analysis and reporting features too. And on the back, we do have the storage managers. The storage managers will take care of all the different storage tier. Can be NAS, Object Storage Cloud, and tabs too. Everything is designed and managed natively, even to the tab where the tape libraries is managed by the software. On the front end, on the top, is where we can address all the, let's say, the connections with the, let's say, the clients or the storage tier. And basically, it is where we can see the primary storage. Basically, we see two different type of primary storage. Can be NAS with SMB on NFS protocols or file systems, or S3 too. Okay, that these are the primary storage where the clients will access, and then the systems itself will take care of the movement from this storage to and go down to the final archiving storage or to another primary too. Importance to explain tape storage, we provide, let's say, the connection, the tape libraries management, and the read and write operations too on tabs. And we support LTFS as a standard solution for writing to tabs. We are certified by LTO for being, let's say, a certified, product for the LTFS format. Okay, and the systems, you will see that is no vendor lock-in, is completely open, even when we write to the tape. Then the main component is the data mover. It's very powerful data mover. It's designed for HPC. We do have customers having a very high level of throughput for moving content. It includes the schedulers, and when you can define when the movement has to be executed automatically by trigger events manually or periodically. We have also an advanced filtering in the modules where you can define, let's say you define the data set at the source, you define the destination, but even in the source data set, you can filter it and say, okay, I want to get the content which has been accessed during the last years only, or perhaps accessed last week only. And then you can start to build filter, or you can define the filter per extensions too. Then in the source, it will filters and only execute the movement on the selections. The monitoring feature in the data mover is very powerful because it helps end users to control any movement. And operation is key, as I mentioned, and this is really high-level platforms to monitor the movement, but also it helps to determine on a file-level basis what the status of the movement for one file. Because we have the capability to provide, of course, a file-based retrieval. Even on tabs, you can retrieve one file, which is key, let's say, in the use case we have. In addition, we do have a virtual file system. the virtual file system is very helpful to present an LTFS appliance. Okay, it supports S3, it supports NFS, it supports SMB as a front end. You access it through this protocol, and on the back, you have your content stored on tape, for example. You access to an S3 from an S3 perspective, an NFS or SMB, but in the backend, it's stored on an LTFS tapes. We have a catalog where you can search filters contents, and we have a toolbox as well for advanced workflow. Let's go in our use case because I think it's the most important, because you can identify, let's say, the different type, let's say, of solution we provide and the different type of challenge we can solve. The University of Rostock is in Germany, in the north, and they were looking for solutions to extend their, let's say, archiving solutions, which is S3 object storage base, and they wanted to extend it with tapes too. And they wanted to leverage LTFS, so let's say a format on tapes, for making sure that they can get a technology break by having object storage S3 and disk, and also tape storage, but as well changing the format and not have an S3 format also on the cartridge too, because they wanted to make sure to get this break in case of any type of issue it can happen. Okay, and with the solutions, we help them to build and design solutions to get 2 copies on the object storage, 1 copy is on the tape storage on an LTFS format, and can be also exported outside. Okay, and then we help them to solve these problems thanks to the data mover service, thanks to our virtual service on the fronts too, and the LTFS formats we handle natively with the software. The next one is Watch Next. Watch Next is an animated movies company. They produce movies, and they wanted to leverage LTFS2 to store their content on tape. They use a legacy platform in the past, and they wanted to move to our technologies and softwares in keeping the content on the tape libraries, and because they are already archived, let's say, all the production on tapes on LTFS, but they wanted to keep it, of course, and not to read-write all the content. And thanks to Nodeum, they have been able to catalog the data of the cartridge, re-inject, let's say, automatically, if I can say, the content in the catalogs, and then directly get access through the software, through Nodeum, to all the content which were stored on the cartridge, and get them access to for their applications and their clients too. That the benefit for them is to keep the cartridge, is to accelerate, let's say, the archiving process, because thanks to the automation and our data mover, they have been also be capable to get the content from the source and move it down to the tapes. MPC is a major, let's say, movie producer, post-productions. It's part of the technical groups. It's high intensive, and we work with them for more than 4 or 5 years now to accelerate their business growth in terms of video productions and movie productions. And we have integrated completely, let's say, all the Nodeum's solution inside their workflow, with the capability to address the movement directly when the content is coming from the camera, starting the archiving process from scale-out NAS to tapes libraries. The challenge is to handle this process in 3 copies, 2 copies on LTFS, 1 copy on cloud-based object storage. Also important is the workflow is so really huge for them that in terms, let's say, of validation, they wanted to rely on Nodeum for making sure that they can verify the listing of all the productions archive that has been proceed. And this means doing the checksums calculations too, and verifying the listing of the files that have been archived. This happens every day, 24 per 24, 7 days per 7 days, all the year. The challenge is so important for them too that they can only erase the content on the camera, on the memory stick, only when they have proof within 24 hours that the 3 copies are completely the same. And Nodeums help them to proceed to do that automatically and verify all the copies and making sure on a file level basis that everything is done and on the size as well that has been processed. Then the system includes so many, let's say, verification that they can certify that the copies are totally the same. Phoenix is another story. It's HPC, and we serve within the Phoenix service catalogs, which is European catalogs, for helping the HPC research centers to accelerate the collaboration and the movement of the content between file system, and also object storage. Then with the software, we have deployed at Jülich Supercomputing, Barcelona, CES, CSCS, and Cineca. The users using these different, let's say, research centers and supercomputers can use the Nodeum software and the data movers to perform movements between file system, GPFS, Lustre file system, across all of them. Then they can move from GPFS to Lustre, Lustre to GPFS, GPFS to GPFS, Lustre to Lustre, for example, but also encompassing S3 Swift storage too. And they have the capability to address all the movements. We have also integrated the movement itself inside Slurms and Workload Manager. And directly from a Slurm job, they can accelerate the data movement before doing the calculation and after having the calculations done. Okay, that the movement is completely integrated in the workload too. Airbus is project in the satellites. We work with them and to serve different requirements worldwide with again the same time of requirement having double copies. In this case, they have to recopy content from object storage to tape storage. They wanted to duplicate the contents and to be capable to have and to reduce the risk of humidity, dust, and so on. And finally, Graz University. It's university doing research about Carcomina and especially the thyroid. And they are doing slide scanning, MRI scanning, and the process to scan is very performant. They have high performance scanner, and the content are stored on flash. But they had an issue is to analyze and move the content after getting the content on the flash storage. And they had to move the data from the flash because the flash is attached to the scanner, basically. They have limited space, and they have to move down to different tier of storage for long-term storage and also for analysis. And this process took, let's say, 10 minutes for one slide when the scanners has a process of 1 slide minute. And with Nodeum, as a data mover and archiving platform, they have been able to reduce by to less than 1 minute the process. Then they have been to accelerate the movement out of the scanner and place it to NAS as a first level of archive and then to tapes afterwards. That's a great use case because it's demonstrated that with data management softwares, they have been able to accelerate the scanning and accelerate the research afterwards. Yeah, this slide is just to present and summarize a little bit. Then we do have different, let's say, storage at the front. We have the protocol, standard protocol, the workflows we went through and the features. It's run on commodity servers, virtual servers, x86, Linux-based platforms, and we provide a web console, a REST API, SDK, and an ND client. And in terms of benefit using Nodeum for you, it's a high throughput data movement, but with control. You have a file system virtualization also that you can use to get access to low tier. You have the capability to address the metadata management. Of course, you have a lot of different, let's say, storage trend analysis to analyze, let's say, what you have stored on your primary storage, your archive storage. You can fully automate the usage with REST API. There is no vendor lock-in with the softwares. Compared to all backup softwares you can use, we do not lock. Everything is open on the human readable structures. Finding content is any more problems. You have a smart catalog, you have searchable capability. And now archiving is very easy to do it, and you can reduce the cost in keeping the same user's experience. Here you have access to different resources on our website. You have use case, you have technical white paper, then I can invite you to go to this link, nodeum.io/resources, and you will get a lot of information about the solutions. Of course, you can download your trial too. You can fill it in this different, let's say, information, and you get directly access to a trial version of the product. You can get it deployed in your premise and start to use it, let's say, for free during a certain amount of time. The documentation is also completely accessible. You will learn how to deploy, how you can configure, and how you can get the most of the softwares too. Afterwards, here, a couple of words about LMS. It is, as I mentioned, different stories, completely different storage. We have 25 years in our company experience in the product. And here we are talking about data protection in IBM market. And we have applications components, LMS, that will help basically you as an IBMI user or mainframe getting access to your open systems storage system or appliance for backup purpose. Then typically said, you have a backup appliance being able to do VTL, but you can use it to back up the contents coming from the IBMI. Or you have also the option, if you have a VTL with fiber channels plus as well FICON SCON, you have the options as well to address the backups of mainframe, VM, VSE, or ZOS. And thanks to our components that will handle, let's say, the split between the command path and the data path. Then, to be clear, you can address with our package of softwares the options to back up the contents you have on your IBM systems to a VTL or a tape libraries. We do have two sets of components. We do have one appliance, Linux-based, that will handle, let's say, the connections to the VTL, fiber channel-based, but we have also a product that can handle the VTL with an ACS mode. ACS is a protocol that originally came from Storage Tech that can use, let's say, the capability to address the movement of the cartridge in the VTL through this protocol. Fiber channels, we can address also the movement through a fiber channels connections. Additionally, we do have components that can be deployed on the IBM systems. We have one component per type of operating systems, IS400, OS400 for the IBMI. We do have as well the same type of components as well for the other type of mainframe systems. Okay, and these components will make the interface between your favorite tape management system, which can be for IS400, for example, IBMI, BRMS, or command line 2, that works. Okay, I will explain later on. That what is important to understand is we are making, let's say, the split of the control and the data path. All of our library and gateways are involving only the control path, the command path, and that handling the movement of the VTLs and the operation behind the VTLs. It's completely user-friendly because you continue to use your CLs on the IBM systems. Once behind the CLs, you have the complete automations and you have the complete management of the backends backup appliance. In terms of integration, as I mentioned, we integrate through an ACS or a SCSI with fiber channels protocol. In terms of the LMS 400, for example, for IBMI integrations, in this example, we can connect to an IBM BRMS for tape management systems. And then directly from the BRMS, you have access to, for example, a VTL from Quantum, for example. And then you have the capability to address your backups or restores from your BRMS to the Quantum DXI. You have also the options to use a control language, the CLs command directly to do the manipulation of mounting the cartridge and starting the write of the content on the cartridge. That is very easy to integrate. It's completely transparent. All the backup are performed with your backup management systems you like. And then you can directly address a different type of, let's say, PPBA, DXI, or store ones, any type, let's say, of a backup appliance or even tapes libraries as well, directly as backend. In terms of architectures, you can see such kind of architecture with two data centers in this case, where you do have the library managers on the both sides that will run on Linux platforms. It can be a virtual machine, it can be a physical servers. These systems will only manage the VTL control on the VTL appliance. Okay, that this is the only control of the VTL appliance to mount the cartridge, dismount the cartridge, move the cartridge from a slot to a drive, for example, such kind of things. That is fully medium changer based control path. And the connections between the contents and the backup and the restores are done directly from the IBMI systems to the VTL appliance through a fiber channels connection. The gateways are not a gateways that will get the file from the S400 and push them back to the VTL. Okay, it's the piloting of the VTL and the automation from the backup applications. Some use case for Gallium is something we did with Quantums, with DXi technologies, where they have to replicate the content between two data centers. They run two systems, one system per data center, and they had to cross the backups between both data centers for IBMI. They get the capability to back up on one side and restore to the second side and vice versa. And thanks to the deduplication, the compressions that came from DXi, they have been able to replicate this to long distance and also to automate the, let's say, the backup process coming from tapes backups in the past. I think that I covered most of the topics in the 30-minute slots. If you have any question and answers, I'm glad to answer and to explain.